Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and good afternoon. Welcome to another day at the IATF 2025. This is the fifth day where actually we're seeing a lot of exhibitors and startup companies trying to hunt buyers and even investors. Of course, the day has been packed and a lot of panels are taking place just next to me here at the Safex Exhibition Palace in the capital, Algiers. And before we discuss what's been happening here or what's unfolding here, I invite you to follow with me this report by Yassine Rikti, and then we come back to the discussion.
At the fourth edition of IATF in Algeria, the country is showcasing its ambition to lead Africa's agricultural revival. The event highlights locally assembled agricultural machinery tractors, combined harvesters made in Algeria that can support regional food security and meet the demands of the agricultural sector, reflecting growing national industrial expertise.
The agricultural equipment and machinery currently on display at this flagship, as presented at the previous edition, are largely assembled locally, with a variable integration rate depending on the manufacturers present on the national territory. We hope that this equipment will meet the expectations of operators, farmers and investors both in Algeria and in African countries.
The fair has also attracted significant foreign interest, particularly from Polish delegations eager to explore partnerships with Algerian companies. Early talks focus on joint developments of solutions adapted to Africa's unique climates and farming challenges.
What concrete benefits would partnership with other countries have brought to Algeria? This is a successful example of cooperation between Poland and Algeria in the agriculture and agri-food sector. I hope that in the future we will see more initiatives of this type, like those highlighted in this center. Support exists, and Poland is present. The prospects do not only concern agriculture and agri-food, but also other areas. The development of economic cooperation is an essential choice.
Organizers also emphasize that this event serves as a vital platform, opening the door to a wide range of investment opportunities between Algeria and countries across Africa and beyond.
A lot of agreement has been signed between Algeria and other African countries, not only African countries, but also other countries abroad. So it was very, very interesting. And I think that this event will be very fruitful for the African countries and Algeria. It's a win-win event.
This blend of domestic innovation and international collaboration signals Algeria's strategic role in shaping Africa's agricultural future. IATF 2025 is not only a showcase of technology, but a catalyst for economic opportunities and cross-border cooperation, reinforcing Algeria's position as a key player in the continent's evolving agricultural landscape.
Hello again, dear viewers, and now it's time to bring in our guests. I have with me here in this SAT studio Sebastian. Sebastian's full name is Cantor, Sebastian Galindo Cantor. He's from the Latin African Chamber of Commerce. Hello there, sir, and thank you for agreeing to be with us today.
Hi, Karim. How are you? Good afternoon. Thanks for your time.
It's a pleasure. And of course, we also have Osama Fahmy. Osama Fahmy is of GIT Zone International. Hello, Fahmy, you are the CEO, apparently.
Yes. Hello, Karim. It's nice to meet you. It's my pleasure to be with you.
The pleasure is all ours. Thank you for agreeing to be with us. Of course, I begin the debate with you, Sebastian. Your chamber links Latin America and Africa. So my question is, what concrete trade opportunities do you see between, for example, Colombia and the entire region in Latin America and African markets this week at the IATF?
Well, thanks for that question. So far, we are in this process of opening new markets and business opportunities for the African companies. But for example, we see that agriculture and on services, there are many opportunities that Latin America could learn from the African companies. For example, there are very good solutions that we already saw, and in services, fintech solution, it already could be worked in Latin America. So this is a very great space to review and understand more about how we can create these new business opportunities for both regions.
And back to you, Mr. Osama. So GIT Zone works on investment facilitation, is that right?
Investment facilitation and trade facilitation. We have the mother company, which is Jet Zone International, work in trade facilitation between the countries, and also we have Jetway, which is our investment arm, to work in investment facilitation.
So my question is related to that, and it goes like this. What are the top 3 sectors you're seeing buyers actually placing orders at this fair?
Karim, if we talk about orders, if we talk about trade, it's completely different from country to country, different from category to category. But most of buyers work in the main products, which is fresh foods, all the food products, which is the main category. After this, what you have as a competitive edge in your products, if we talk about the Algerian products, you have big names in brands inside Algeria. So it depends what you have as a premium producers. So it's changed from country to country, from market to market.
And back to you, Mr. Sebastian. If we talk about the Chamber of Commerce, the Latin African Chamber of Commerce that you are leading here, has this CLAF helped broker any Africa-Latin Memorandum of Understandings? Can you name any concrete deal that you have come to?
Well, we have been in different kind of meetings during the expo, and we're going to move further, for example, with the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and others that are interested in to get concrete opportunities and go in a further trade mission for the following year. So the African companies will allow to get Latin American information, get approach to our markets, and know the market access that they could have in order to diversify and work in the South-South cooperation.
So up until now, we haven't seen anything concrete yet. Is that what you're saying?
We're in that process because,
way.
Latin America and Africa do not have this kind of history. Our trade balance is not more than 3-4%. But from our view and from the view of the Latin African Chamber of Commerce, we want to create and be pioneer on rewrite the history of South-South business relationships. So the first part is to make concrete steps to build and to start with the first block and continue to make these activities to be done.
Hopefully we're going to see something concrete in the near future.
That's the idea.
Yes.
That's the idea. Market access, information, and exchange ideas. So far, we're there are no people from Latin America here. We, with my partner Angelica, we're coming from Colombia to visit here, to understand why Africa, and to get information done, to back to our market, and to start to teach Latin American companies how to do business in Africa.
Sounds pretty interesting. And back to you, Mr. Osama. So you chair the Africa Investment Day Advisory Council. How do you measure success for an investment forum? Is it through signing concrete memorandum of understandings, or maybe first shipments or secured financing? What is the, let's say, the measure for that?
Karim, let us agree that we have a gap in investment cooperation in the content of Africa, and also we have a gap in trade facilitation between the countries inside Africa. So we launched Africa Investment Day in 2023 to fill the gap between the projects and the finance and the players of investment, that we can connect during Africa Investment Day after preparation a lot of months before the event, that we can connect the opportunity to be a real project on the land. So we prepare the projects, which is infrastructure or investment opportunities all over the content before the event. Then we move it with investors, we move it with financial or fund organizations or our partners to make it alive. So Africa Investment Day designed to support the project to be alive.
Thank you indeed. And of course, you've been speaking about obstacles and hurdles, and even, you know, between or amongst African countries, Egypt, Algeria, and you name it. Every single country is different from the other, and the infrastructure perhaps is not really parallel. Let's say that maybe the infrastructure could be developed in Egypt, in Algeria, but then if you compare it with another African country, we see that the infrastructure is still perhaps lagging behind. And these are one of the obstacles that we can see in doing business between African countries. And in light of this, how do you assess IATF being as a platform and trying to remove all these hurdles?
I am lucky because I attended IATF in the 4 versions from start to today. IATF connecting all the players of the game in the same place, connected them in the same place and make the partnerships between them and start the discussions. Maybe after IATF the closing will come, but during IATF you start the discussions. Some deals you are closing now in IATF, but you started before. So IATF, it's a great platform to connect all the players of investment and financing, and also the carry-out companies, which is EPC contractors, and all the players of infrastructure. Completely agree with you that infrastructure differ from country to country, and this affect the progress between trade facilitation, for example, and also the roads, everything, all infrastructure. So IATF is very efficient to connect and put the opportunities and put the projects on the top to be discussed and make it alive.
Thank you indeed. And in light of that answer, I get back to you, Mr. Sebastian, with these questions. Events like the IATF 2025 often promise market access. And here from your Bogota base, what practical steps should a Latin, for example, exporter, take in Algiers this week to sell into Lagos or Nairobi next quarter, let's say?
Well, the first thing that I should say is to take advantage and to take the right business contacts. I think this is the place to get all the decision makers that are meeting in one point. So first is get the approach with the correct client, get the information, and to start to make the business contact. One of the things that I note is like you need to get the through of each customers and know and go in a deep insider meetings.
And back to you, Mr. Osama. So you've worked across multinational firms and startups. You almost have seen it all. I mean, I've seen your resume. It looks incredible. So for African SMEs, and based on your experience, meeting big buyers here, what's the shortest path, let's say, for success to a paid pilot, let's say, and how should they price it?
I think everything in trade cycle starting from planning. What I produce and who is my customer, okay? So if I produce for export, I have to know the market I will export to it. So before the event like IATF, I have to plan and see what is the products I have in my hand and what is the target markets. I have to do my R&D to know who is the target markets and what is their need, and the qualifications of the product also. So planning and studying and make the R&D or help you to make successful deals and successful closing. Also studying the attendees of the event. You know who will come, what is the buyers will come, from which countries, and what is the need. If we talk about sources, what is the percentage of salt? You have to study. If you talk about any product, you have to know what is your product, where you can sell, and what is the market you will sell to. So planning, R&D, then you target them in the right way. I think that you can close a lot of deals during event like IATF.
So there are no shortcuts, let's say.
Yeah, no shortcut. You have to do your homework. Okay. Now, if I want to sell to Latin America, okay, I have to know tomato paste. So the taste in Africa completely different than the taste there. I have to know the customer need. If I talk about furniture, okay, I want to sell furniture from Algeria to Latin America. I have to know the designs, they be fair. So this is a homework, no shortcuts. Shortcuts, it can be done in our personal life. But in business, you have to study, you have to learn, you have to improve, you have to make to the point.
Absolutely. And now I get back to you, Mr. Sebastian. Your Chamber of Commerce often brings diaspora, right? And when it does this, it also bring it with, let's say, private sector ties. So it makes this bound between the diaspora and the private sector. Now, how can diaspora capital, especially from Latin America, be mobilized into African startups and SMEs after such events, IATF?
Well, it works in both ways. For example, taking about the diaspora, we have a specific case back in Colombia. One company from Nigeria, for example, they are making value supply integration. So, for example, what they did, they took the recipe from Nigeria, but they mix with Colombian local products. So they went to see that they are like in a mix and integration of the value chain, for example, as per example. At the same way, we can work with the Latin America and try to understand our culture difference that are more, we're more, we're more, the difference is not quite big between from our culture. So people from Latin America could come here to Africa and try to understand your culture, what is happening here, and make this balance at the same time. So there are so interesting cases about that.
Absolutely. And Mr. Osama, this is not the first time you have been at the IATF, right?
Not the first time.
That's not the first time.
Yeah.
So you've seen previous editions, but what's one mistake maybe you have noticed from one edition to another that you don't want to see it being repeated? I mean, maybe if you still see countries repeating the same mistake, it's kind of frustrating, and we don't see that there is much progress is being done. We should be learning from the mistakes of previous editions.
I think IATF from version to version become more strong. I see this become more strong. But there is some ads can be added in the event, make it more stronger. I think who understand the nature of IATF know this is a network event. It's not a sales event. You will close deals after the event. You have to follow up after the event. Event may be just a start. The event, the 7 days, just a start for any organization to do business after the event. But if you don't follow up, you will not get a gain from this event. The mistake, which is I see, or it's not mistake, this is the adjustment I want to do, the follow up from the management of the event after the event. With all the players come to the event, exhibitors, and also attendees or visitors or buyers, to know what is the progress. Make a department, separate department to follow up on the progress on the deals or something like this, to know where the deals stopped. Okay? But
so there should always be a follow-up.
I think they signed the big deals during the event and they feel it's enough. I think the success of the event have a lot of pillars we can evaluate, but this, if we added that a follow-up tool by AI, by online follow-up, so we can support sellers to connect buyers, give them advisory, something like this. It will make more fruitful and more reach, which is, I think, the figures which closed during the event will be doubled if we have this follow-up.
Thank you indeed. Very insightful. And back to you, Mr. Sebastian. If we were to speak about trade policy, what are the simplest regulatory fixes you would ask an African host government to announce during IATF, maybe to speed cross-border shipments and do business? What I mean by this is that maybe we can find a lot of obstacles between one country and another. The regulations are not the same. If you come, for example, to Algeria, you would find certain regulations. In Nigeria, it's something else. So this could create hurdles and obstacles in doing business. Now, if you were to advise governments to make things easier, what would be the top priority?
Well, one of them I will say that is the trade policy harmonization, and one of the main tools that we can say is the trade facilitation agreement of the World Trade Organization that help us in order to break this kind of barriers. Even I think, from my point of view from Latin American, the implementation of the African Continental Trade Agreement is in a very good point and to start to break down these trade barriers that we have right away. Yeah, I know that with the implementation of the agreement, we're going to help MSMEs to integrate, to go to trade more intra-regional in Africa, but at the same time, we're going to create new value chains with Latin America and with other trade partners.
Thank you indeed. And it seems that my colleague Zahra Farjani is ready now for an interview with her guest. Hello there, Zahra, and welcome to you and your guest.
Hello, Karim, and thank you. Dear viewers, hello and welcome to the Intra-African Trade Fair 2025 exclusive interviews in our channel All 24 News. We are here at the Pavilion Safex, where we are hosting today Dr. Olumide Abimbola Ajayi, the Executive Director and CEO of Africa Leadership Foundation. Thank you, sir, for being with us.
Thank you.
So, to begin, how is the Africa Leadership Foundation engaging with the Intra-African Trade Fair 2025? And what role do you see that this fair is playing to advance the ALF's mission?
Okay, the Africa Leadership Foundation has been involved in entrepreneurship development for many years. I will come back to that. Some years back, we began a collaboration with the Afrexim Bank, and the whole idea was for us to take SMEs through what we call SME Agribusiness Accelerator Export Readiness Training to find a way to integrate them into inter-African market. We've successfully piloted that in Nigeria. We have covered 13 West African countries, and currently we are focusing on East Africa, about another 11 African countries. So the people that we have trained, our aim is for them to be able to engage with inter-African trade. And the Inter-African Trade Fair is a very good platform for that to be possible. So this year, we have 17 of our SMEs that we have trained from 14 African countries participating here to meet buyers, to be able to talk to people and showcase their product, and then have the opportunity of spreading and expanding their business.
Export, yes. So the Africa Leadership Foundation has long worked on leadership and capacity building across the continent. So in concrete terms, how is this foundation help to strengthen Africa's economy and empower the next generations of business leaders, entrepreneurs, and innovators?
You will understand that when the Organization of African Unity was in existence, their primary aim was political liberation of Africa. Every country, including Nigeria, to get their independence. Our last frontier was in South Africa.
Yeah.
And having been able to achieve that, we felt that political liberation without economic empowerment, it's another form of slavery.
Yeah.
And so we shifted our focus into entrepreneurship, building the capacity of young people. We started way back in 1991 through a program we call Junior Business Seminar. We go to universities, the final year students, we give them entrepreneurship training to say to them, apart from white collar job, you also have a blue collar job that can give you more money. So we began to do this until 2008, when the central bank of our country decided to involve us in entrepreneurship development. As of today, ALF has empowered maybe close to 37,000 young people across the continent on entrepreneurship, on export training, and more than half of these, about 54% of these, are women.
Yes, thank you. So, Dr. Ajayi, you had a speech today called or under the name Success Tips for Entrepreneurs. You described business as a war. Could you explain what you meant by that? And what practical lessons do you want entrepreneurs to take from that comparison?
Now, life in itself is a war. So when you go into business and you want to thrive, be very, very sure that there are people that want to copy what you're doing, that want to do it better. So, and they want to take you out of the market.
Yeah.
So it's a war. Anybody that wants to take you out of the market is fighting you. So you yourself have to be sure of what are your competitors doing. How are they doing it? How do I neutralize them? If you don't have that mindset, you will not be able to stay in the marketplace. And I will repeat, business is a war. The earlier you know it, the better for you.
Indeed. So entrepreneurs across Africa are still facing challenges, from access to finance to infrastructure gaps. So from your perspective, what are the most pressing obstacles holding back African businesses today, and how can we overcome them, especially here at the Intra-African Trade Fair 2025?
I said this morning that finance, and that other presenter also says finance is not the first obstacle to a thriving entrepreneur or entrepreneurship in Africa. There are non-financial issues. For example, regulatory framework, regulatory environment. Because SMEs don't have money to start off, I think government need to devise a means by which all the support that entrepreneurs need is provided for them. Number two is about capacity. You see, when you don't have knowledge, you are limited.
Yes.
So we need to continuously build the capacity of our entrepreneurs. We need to do research every time to know what are the obstacles and how do we remove those obstacles. What kind of policy response is required to remove those obstacles. Then we can't talk about finance. Now, what kind of finance do they need? And there are two types of it.
Yes.
Now, there is the finance to grow the business. While the business is growing, the entrepreneur himself also needs support.
Yes.
So when we are packaging loan or credit for business people, we do not just look at the business, we also look at the business owner.
Yes.
We look about their health, like I said. We look about the fact that they also need some well-being, some support to be able to run those things. Also, they also need support in terms of record keeping. You need to support them to ensure that they keep their record so that whatever money they have put in, whatever support they have put in, will not go down the drain. The failure that we see around SMEs in Africa is simply due to some of these things. Some of them don't have appropriate leadership skills or marketing skills or ability to be able to engage, like coming to the IATF, for example. It's an opportunity for them.
Yes. So you are partners with the Afrexim Bank, right? So can you explain to our viewers the relationship between ALF with the Afrexim Bank with the ALF entrepreneurs?
Okay. What do we do with Afrexim? We organize and we have developed like a training system whereby when we put in an SME that's never done export before,
Yes.
by the time we finish with them, they become export ready.
Yes.
So we call it export readiness accelerator training that focus on small businesses.
Yes.
So when we do that, we will also bring them to IATF. We will support them with finances. So those are the kind of partnership that we have. And as of today, we have covered 24 African countries.
Yes. One last question before we close. If you had to leave one directive or mindset for entrepreneurs and innovators here at the IATF and across the African continent, what would it be?
I said to them this morning, and I will repeat again,
Yes.
you will always meet obstacles.
Yes.
You will always meet pushback. I said in the morning, the response to pushback is another pushback. Don't give up, be firm, and I know very soon you will get to your aim and your target.
Indeed.
Thank you very
so much. Thank you, Dr. Olumide Abimbola Ajayi, the Executive Director and CEO of Africa Leadership Foundation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
Our pleasure. Ladies and
Thank
gentlemen,
you.
with
Thank
this
you
we
indeed.
end our interview for today. We still have 2 more days for the fair and 2 more and many more exclusive interviews. We go back to you, Kareem, for your show.
Thank you indeed, Zahra Farjani, and big thanks to your guest as well. And of course, before we continue our discussion here at the studio, we need to go to a commercial break and then we come back. Hello again, dear viewers, and welcome back to the IATF 2025 special coverage here in All 24 News Channel. And we continue our debate, and this time I go back to you, Mr. Osama Fahmi. When we speak about Africa, especially in the Western world, Europe, America, the very first thing that comes in mind are hot spots, the risks, let's say. And a lot of experts and a lot of observers are saying that these risks are overblown. People blow things out of proportion. We might have some, let's say, instability here and there, but then we can still do business. And here, regarding risk and guarantees, what instruments, let's say, are most underused in Africa today to perhaps de-risk cross-border trade for SMEs, for example?
If we talk about risk, I think the start we can say is absence of information. If you know the information, you will reduce the risk, but not stop it, but you will reduce the risk. So, like these events, this is my first time to visit Algeria. I find Algeria very potential for investment. So, absence of information start reducing the risk. But if we talk the second thing to reduce the risk inside Africa, we talk about commercial laws or commercial rules, customs, and everything talk about the markets inside Africa. If I want to invest or I want to trade with Ghana, for Mozambique, different rules and different rules and different laws and legal in customs and duties and everything. So I think we have to start dream for Africa or SMEs in Africa to start to dream that we have one market in Africa with unified custom rules and the process, unified laws, commercial laws. This is the gap we have now. So I think that if we want to reduce the risk for investor, for the trader, for everyone, we have to review the law structure and the rules structure we have in our borders. If we talk about Africa, I care about Africa, and I already press or pressurize to make Africa better by our business, our relations as well. So if Europe want to invest in Africa, they come and see the rules of investment, correct? If we have the clarity and have a clear rules and the clear process for everything, he will invest, he takes the decision. For trade, also, we want to review the rules and the laws and make the information available everywhere for anyone to want to invest or want to trade with us.
Thank you indeed. And Sebastian, back to you. If we come to read newspapers or press headlines, the Latin American, African trade narrative is actually growing. And here, maybe Colombia can step in and bring a certain know-how to the African market. And here I'm asking for specific maybe examples. Where could the Colombian know-how be fit in the African manufacturing? Would it be textile? Would it be food processing?
Well, more than that, for example, it will be in... For example, we have the case of coffee. I had the possibility to be, for example, in Kenya or in some countries that produce coffee. And one of the things that we can make it is the transfer technology or the knowledge. Colombians have been well known for a brand of coffee, a country that is branded for their coffee. So it's not only the production, it's only the brand that we could create and the value added that we can make with this kind of products. So this is just like one example of how we can work between Latin Americans and Africans, and how we can engage between each markets, making that kind of difference. So it's been like something that we've been asking so far, taking in case, for example, the case of Colombia and the coffee.
And back to you, Mr. Osama. So you've been actually involved in tourism initiatives like the Tourism World Cup, right?
I'm the founder.
Yeah, you're the founder. There you go. So how do you see tourism and trade connecting at IATF? And can tourism be a real support or an export, let's say, export pipeline for small businesses?
Let me tell you something. We talk about economy, okay? It's not only trade or tourism, all it's economy. I come here for IATF. You know that IATF or this exhibitions, one of the tourism sectors, exhibition tourism. I come to Algeria to attend IATF. I go to the restaurant and take my food. I go to the supermarket and purchase a product. I know the products of Algeria. I like Hamoud drink, so I will ask it to import it. So this is all economy.
Yes.
Okay? The Tourism World Cup is a global event which is happened every 3 years, which is supports the economy from the gate of tourism. Now I come to Algeria, for example, I will give all examples for IATF2025. I come to Algeria, I find the city is very beautiful. So I will recommend it to my friends. If you want to spend good time, you can go to Algeria. So exhibition result tourism, okay? So we can connect the tourism with the trade because both are economy. All the traders come, know your products, know your competitive edge, know your destinations you have, know your culture. So they will be ambassadors for the product of Algeria. So tourism and trade in the same pillars or the same factors in the economy of the country. So Tourism World Cup move every 3 years to different country to boost the host country economy. We now work with Arab tourism organizations, which is our partners, and we will work with UNWTO to make it on the global schedule to be every 3 years to develop all the world together to develop the host country economy.
It's all interrelated indeed. And back to you, Mr. Sebastian. According to your background, you're also a legal and tax scholar. That's according to your Erasmus profile. So in practice, what tax or tariff harmonization would most reduce friction between Latin suppliers and African buyers?
Well, I think that the most important is going to be tariff. I know that so far tariff for import products in the African market is going a little bit higher, around 16-19%. So one of the things that we could start is like how we can start to reduce this tariff. But at the same time, the non-tariff trade, and this kind of regulation that sometimes make trade difficult. So I think that even going further in a free trade agreement or something like deeper between our both regions is something that is going to take time, but we can start at least working with phytosanitary regulations, how we can navigate through the complexity with our institutions between governments of Latin America and Colombia, and go in order to decrease or making harmonization of rules in order to get in touch with our markets. So I think that is one of the things that we could start to work together and go of different memorandum of understandings and work government by government relationships in order to grow these kind of issues.
Absolutely. And back to you, Mr. Osama Fahmy. The GIT zone promotes cross-border solutions. So how fast can maybe a regional logistics corridor be actually operationalized so it becomes operational so that a shipment from Algiers, for example, reaches Accra or Douala without actually repeated custom stops?
this is one of the barriers of inter-Africa trade. يعني, you know, logistics and customs and time you spend to make clearance for the products. This is one of the barriers. And I think, as I told, which is absence of information, make you make more cost and more time, pay more time to take your goods out of the duties. So I think we need to make something like association under AFCTFTA to make this clear. If I don't know the rules inside Accra, okay, I will spend money and a lot of time to know. And also, we can say all over the world, you will have a delay. But it's different from country to country. I think this is one of the barriers. Until now, we have some logistics challenges and some custom challenges all over Africa. And even out of Africa, it's a challenge.
Absolutely. Back to you, Mr. Sebastian. IATF is linked to the AFCFTA ambitions. And from a Latin perspective, how do you advise companies to use AFCFTA preferential rules when exporting to Africa?
Well, taking note FDI, for example, the use of free trade zones is going to be like a great deal in order to attract FDI opportunities from the Latin America. Because, for example, you can make some cities, for example, Algiers as a hub for the development, for example, in the North Africa area. So the company is going to export. It's going to export, for example, from Algiers, and from Algiers they can make that like the distribution hub for different countries. So this is one of the things that we can make it through. Taking about FDI, it's the same. For example, if you want to go to Colombia, you get like an FT set, and from the FT set, like you can make the production, and then, for example, export your products to the US, yeah, with a preferential tariff that we have from Colombia because we have the FDA. So, for example, we can create this kind of value change, global value change, and attract FDA and direct FDA inversion.
Thank you indeed. And Mr. Osama Fahmi, back to you. You have a very extensive experience. You've also worked with franchise and retail models. And here, what franchising or tech platform, let's say, models that are ripe and ready for replication across Africa, at least for the coming decade?
Karim, let me tell you from my experience, we need to make market leaders from Africa. If you want to export or franchise or tell that you have a story of a product, you have to have a market leader. Still now, if you think about market leader from Africa, which is sold in Europe or America and everywhere, you don't find. Yesterday, I see a study during the conference that we have Zara is number one in Algeria, for example. Do we have something like Zara come from Africa and already so in Europe or in America? We don't have. So franchising depends on market leaders, that you have a product as market leader and you have a marketing which is with a different style what we have now. We want to franchise our products or our services or our technology. So we have to have market leader. If we talk about global market leader, I have a lot of brands as a market leader in different categories, but we don't have insulin already produced in Africa. So anyone in the world can live without Africa as a producers. So we want to change this. We have to have our own market leaders. We have to develop our industries to compete with global market. So franchise, we have a lot of models, but still not mature enough to be in as a role model can be told as a story.
Thank you indeed, Mr. Osama Fahmi. You are the global CEO of GIT Zone International. Thank you indeed for being with us today. And also a big thank you for you, Mr. Sebastian Galindo Cantor. You're the Vice President of the Cámara de Comercio Latino Africana. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you.
You have a
indeed.
very good Spanish.
And thank you, dear viewers, for keeping it here on All 24 News Channel. With this, we come to the end of today's coverage. And of course, stay tuned to our channel for more continuing coverage on the event. And until now, have a good one.